So we're here at the New Media Film Festival with Alison.
Hi, I'm Alison Arngrim, and indeed I was the evil Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. I'm still hated all over the world in 140 countries, except for France, where they don't think she's mean, they think she's French. I've written a book, it's a New York Times bestseller. I do a show, a one-woman show, Confessions of Prairie Bitch, about my life, and has a Q&A segment, and I do it in English and in French. I perform in France. So I have the book, I have the show, and I travel all over the world. I've been doing a lot of TV and web series, and right now I'm here because Life Interrupted, which I am in, is going to be showing here on Thursday night. I'm very pleased. Stephen Wishnoff, our writer and producer, is
Hello.
here. What happened is I got this crazy phone call. Do you want to play Mason Reese's ex-wife? Mason Reese.
You guys connect.
We met
At the Vagina
at the
Monologues.
Vagina Monologues.
100 years ago. It was an
No,
old
I
vagina
remember
years
that
ago.
one.
Well, we met each other off and on, and we became friends. And then he calls me and says, do you want to be Mason Reese's ex-wife? Well, Mason Reese was the little boy from the Underwood Deviled Ham commercial a million years ago. And so I play Mason's ex-wife, and then I've left Mason. I've left him for a woman. And I'm now married to Erin Murphy, who played Tabitha on Bewitched. She's quite lovely. Everybody would leave their husband or wife for this woman. And then Dawn Wells, who's Marianne on Gilligan's Island, plays my mother. And then her mother is played by Michael Learned, who was the mother on The Waltons. And it's this hysterical sitcom that he's created that we're all in, and they're showing part of it here on Thursday night.
That is awesome. So tell me about how'd you get inspired to write this?
Well, my friend Mason Reese called and said, I haven't done anything in about, 40 years. And if I wanted to be back on camera, what would I do? And I said, I don't know. I haven't written it yet. And I called him back about 3 months later and I said, okay, let's keep it close to your life. You own a bar right now? You'll own a bar in the show. Oh, you're trying to sell the bar? Well, you're trying to sell it in the show. And then I'll make up everything else. How would you like to be married to Alison Arngrim? He went, oh, I'd love that. I said, not anymore. Now you're divorced.
You're divorced from Allison.
And she left you for Erin Murphy. And he went, what? And I said, oh, and Dawn Wells is your mother-in-law, and she doesn't like you. And he said, okay, send it to me. So I wrote it, finished it, sent it over. He was hysterical laughing and said, let's do it. So we kind of put it together and kissed it up and did it. In 3.5 days, we shot this thing.
It was amazing because we were trying to find, especially for my mother-in-law, since Erin's mother's supposed to be very imperious, the rich mother-in-law, who really kind of looks down on me, having been a bar owner with this Mason person for an ex-husband. So we said, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? And he said, you're not going to believe this, but Michael Learned said yes. And here's this woman who can do anything she wants. She's Michael Learned. She does theater. She was on the Waltons. And she got his script. So this is one of the funniest things I've read in years. I'm there. What time do we shoot?
So tell me about your background as a writer.
Well, it's more of a background as an actor. I grew up as an actor, doing music.
What I remember you is it.
Yeah, mostly. And was on a prison show for 5 years, and I guess that sort of qualifies me.
Did you ever watch Oz about the guys in the prison?
Yeah, of course.
I was there for 5 years.
He was a big, scary, evil leader of the gay gang and killed people.
You look familiar. You've got that face where I was good friends with Ed Lauder, and if you know who Ed is, and Ed's been on in over 100 shows, bless his soul. And one of the things everybody come up and we'd be hanging out, double dating, and they'd come up and they'd say, "We know you. What's your name again?" So it's I think you have a little bit of that look too.
Okay, so it's the face that sunk 1,000 ships.
So how do you come up with this great writing? You've got those quick...
Well, okay, so I grew up when I wasn't lusting over wanting to do theater and doing theater. I was watching television. I was glued to 50s and 60s television, and eventually even was a producer at Nick at Night and TV Land.
Oh, that's awesome.
For about 7 years. And in fact brought TV Land its first Emmy nomination for the TV Land Awards online companion. And so I knew all of the material from classic television, and one of the things that Mason and I talked about when I was writing the show was I didn't want it to be one of those things where it's set up, punchline, evil kids, nasty talk, a lot of takedowns of people. Anything that was said had to be done with love, had to be...
None of this horrible negative crap.
Right, it's just not insult humor, and I wanted it to be a little referential to sitcoms perhaps of the 90s, because there was a sweet spot in there where you had the edginess of Frasier but the fun of Friends.
Right.
And this is kind of a hybrid of all of that.
And that's all my friends love it because they said it's so positive. It's funny. It's a real sitcom. But they said, but it's nice. And look, it's Marianne from Gilligan's Island. And how can you go
I
wrong?
hope Dawn Wells.
It's all the people you love, and it's nice, and it's pleasant, and the family can watch, and it's a good show.
But it's all of these people in ways you've never seen them. You've never seen Marianne lust after a Latin dishwasher.
There you go. So you basically took characters that we all kind of know and love and put a new twist on them.
Completely.
And that's kind of what everybody should do to make a film more interesting.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and people are really liking it. We're all over YouTube. We're getting all the hits. People are starting to subscribe, and they're really getting into it. And I'm getting all these emails and Facebook messages from people who they're just loving it.
Oh, don't let her forget to tell you that on June 12th, voting opens for Emmy.
Oh yeah.
And she's
I might be nominated, kind of, sort of. So if you're a TV Academy member, I am under for your consideration, as is Dawn and the show.
As is
Michael. But Dawn Wells, Michael Learned, and I are all, if you go to the TV Academy for your consideration, there we all are, and the show, because it's Best Comedy Short Form. So I am technically up for an Emmy for Best Actress for Best Comedy Short Form. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.